Yo, what's good, my uncles? Today I have an OST round 2 replay against Tacebreeze. Tacebreeze is a friend of mine and a good player, so I was kind of hyped going into this game because even if I lose, I know it's going to be a nice set, so that's always nice to look forward. At least I don't get beaten by double Cresselia stall like last time. Ooh, me no likey. Round 1 I didn't upload because I was just a quick, swift beatdown. This man got body bagged twice and then fled the scene, basically. So, I mean, I'm not going to upload when the opponent plays a complete dong. Like, it's just not fun for anyone. But yeah, we know Tacebreeze is a good player. He played in OLT last time. He is an avid ladder slayer. And prepping against Taze, I knew I wanted to bring Stall and I wanted to bring Specs Coco. Those are the two things I really wanted to bring. I said Manectric, but my friends say Manectric sucks. You just gotta bring Specs Coco. It's just so much better than Manectric. And I kind of agreed, although I think Manectric is also really good against Taze. So for game 1, I wanted to load up the Stall, but I didn't really feel like Chansey and the boys. Chansey and the boys is just too standard. Chansey and the boys, I don't fuck with Chansey and the boys. What I do fuck with is Dockridge, Banded Bulu stall, the absolute godlike creation. We got Banded Bulu, we got Fitaf Mew, we got Spitaf Heatran with Protect, very nice. We got Shed Shell Toxapex, so you can pivot in on the Heatran. We got standard defensive Zapdos, and we got standard defensive Gastrodon. It's basically just stall plus Banded Bulu. Very nice, very nice team. We immediately see that on Tacebreeze's team, this is very obviously Zard Y. He has the Lando, Scarf Defog Lando, plus Rotom. He has the double Defog Core, plus Zard Y, plus a potential Bantar. That's what I thought originally. I thought this would be Bantar, plus Spitaf Bulu, plus Rocks on the Heatran. It actually turned out to be AV Tar, I think, plus Banded Bulu. I think it was AV Tar, plus Banded Bulu, and then just Standard Rock Strand. So I'm really glad I brought the Pex game 1 because this man Zard Y is a big, humongous threat. So let's just dive right into this. I led off with the Gastrodon because it has a nice matchup against his entire team. Because if you wanted to lead off with Tyranitar, which is a threat, especially if it was banded, because it wasn't banded, but if it was banded, that would have been a threat. I think Heatran would have led off better against that, but yeah, I guess Heatran could have also worked, but I just went with the Dox Nut right here. So I lead off with this. I'm kind of forced to recover turn 1 to see what he wants to lock into, because if he is banded and he crunches me for 70%, I don't want to just Scald, not get the burn, and then just lose 70% on my Gastrodon and not be able to check Heatran in the future. So I had to recover to see if it wanted to Pursuit, see if it wanted to Banded Crunch, because if I recovered on the Banded Crunch, I would just only take 20%, and then I could just pivot out into Tapu Bulu. So it actually turns out to not be banded. It turns out to be some other set. He goes for the crunch. Unfortunately, he gets the drop, which really sucks for me. I am back at full, but I am with the drop. Now, Pursuit is super obvious from Taste here, and if he crunches, it's going to do 60. This is immediately a really bad spot to be in turn 2. I do get the read off because let's go for the Pursuit, does not do damage, and I do fire off the Scald. And thank God I get this burn here, because otherwise I would have still been in a bad spot. I need the burn fish. Thank God I get that. So, nice lucky Seal Classic. So I do get the burn, which is really great against this Tyranitar, basically nullifying it as a threat. Now he goes into this Bulu here, as I just go into my own Bulu. So we get some nice Bulu on Bulu action. Now, I kind of just want to see what type of Bulu this is, because we saw that the Tyranitar is not banded, so I can see this thing being either banded itself or Z-Move or some shit like that. So I do want to see what this is. We can't see the leftovers because of the grassy terrain. So I'm just going to hard Banded Hornleech, actually do a shit into this Heatran. We found out that the Heatran is the Z-Move user because it does not reveal leftovers. Doesn't reveal Air Balloon, so there's no real other set outside of Z, Air Balloon, or Leftovers. I mean, Air Balloon is also an unset, but you do see it occasionally. He can definitely see that this is banded from the Hornleech damage, because that did way too much to a Heatran, way too much to a Quad Resist. So the rocks are super obvious here. Here I make a misplay, I go into Mew, which is not the, this was not the play. I should have just gone into Toxapex or Harden the Gastrodon. I was fearing some type of Z move that would be able to hit my Gastrodon, like a Grassy or something, or a Z-Move to be able to lure in the Pex or something. So if I went Pex, that would have been okay. What I could have done is just go Pex because I'm Shed Shell, and then go out into Gastrodon. But I didn't want to go Pex and then go Gastrodon on the Z-Move and be 2-hit KO'd by Z-Move into regular attack. So I just went into Mew, which is also not the play because I am a slow Fitaf Mew, so I can't even outspeed this Heatran. Basically, I can't beat this Heatran. So now I'm just going to have to bluff this shit out. He goes for the rocks as I soft build up. He sees that I'm faster, or sees that he's faster. So he's still scared of the ground move right here, as he goes into his Charizard. I'm basically forced to ground move because otherwise I could very easily lose my Mew. Now Mew is not that necessary this game, so I could have maybe just defogged there, but I really just didn't want to risk it. And now the threat is inside Zard Y. Now Toxapex is super obvious. Yeah, it's very obvious that this is Zard Y on his team. Even if it's Zard X, Toxapex is still always my play. Taze reads me though, knows that I'm going to go into Toxapex and sends in his Bulu. Now, here, misplay number 2. I stay in with my Toxapex even though I'm max FitF, so I could eat this. This was an easy eat. The roll was like heavily in my favor to eat this Wood Hammer. Still not the play though to go for the Toxic. My thought process at the time was like, this Bulu is such a big threat. I don't have good switch-ins because if I send in my Heatran and he catches it with a superpower, that's fucked. If I send in my Zapdos and he catches it with Stone Edge, I'm fucked. So I really need this to be toxic so I can chip it down. But in hindsight, I just kind of get fucked by Charizard. I do still have my Spidef Heatran, but now my Charizard answers do look a bit limited. He goes into his Heatran as we have Heatran and Heatran action. He makes a nice double again. As here I just protect because it's basically just a free turn of protect scouting. I kind of want to scout what he wants to do in case he has like some form of Z move. I want to click that hard on the Gastrodon. I do get that play right because he does turn out to be ground EMZ. Steals a huge shit on through my protect, even though I'm Spidef. So that's just the power of ground Z Tran, I guess. So I do get some nice lefties recoveries. Here he makes a nice read again and catches my Gastrodon with his Zard Y. So this man's been outplaying me pretty hard so far, and I'm basically kind of fucked. I go back to my Spidef Tran, which is pretty low because of the rocks and because of this Solar Beam that's going to hit it right now. Solar Beam doesn't do that much, only does 8%, but it does nullify my lefties. Here I can protect because I am in range of Focus Blast potentially. So if I protect here, I stay out of range of Focus Blast 110% with the leftovers. So I can just fire off a free Toxic. I kind of hoped for the miss here. Don't get the miss, unfortunately, as I just fire off a Toxic onto the Zard Y. So that is at least not a threat nullified, but at least I've crippled him. Here, the switch into T-Tar or into something is very obvious, so I just hard Earth Power to get some free chip off, which is a kind of a wild play, but I didn't need this Pokemon anyway. Yeah, I didn't need him anyway. Now I can protect for even more free chip on this Tyrant or free leftovers for my own Heatran. In case he wants to pursue me here, he does catch me on the pursuit, making sure my Heatran is dead to rocks, which is a nice play. I do get in my Gastrodon here, and Gastrodon, look at the damage Gastrodon can do, especially if his Charizard is gone. Gastrodon actually nukes his team. The only good switch in is the Bulu. But Bulu is poison. I do have clear Smog on this Gastrodon, so I do have a super effective attack to hit it with. If it comes in, I can Toxic the Rotom. I wall the Rotom. If the Lander doesn't want to come in on either a Toxic or a Scald Burn, plus especially if Grassy Terrain is up, I can just recover on this. Heatran doesn't want to come in. Heatran can't really touch me unless it is Toxic. T-Tar obviously can't touch me, so the only things that can really touch me are the Zard Y and the Bulu. So if I can just kill the Zard Y somehow or get up rocks or something like that, this Gastrodon looks super dangerous here. So the T-Tar obviously is not able to touch me. He just goes hard into Tapu Bulu. As I double out into Toxapex. I thought he would go into Charizard, so I just doubled out on Toxapex to get a bit of free HP on this. But now I'm in a bad spot because this Bulu says hello, basically Banded Bulu says hi. But I can just sack my Heatran here because it dies to rocks anyway, and I don't want to send in anything else and let him get Horn Leech recovery. I just want him to stay at least a bit low. So now I can go into Dox on the Zapdos here. Here Defog is super free, so I just go for that right here. Finally get off the rocks as he Horn Leeches me for still a clean 30, through the resist. So here, this was the freest roost of my life. Instead I T-Bolt, which is a play I disagree with. I do get the crit, so I do get rewarded for the play. And I do get some nice damage on the Heatran, which is something I wanted. Especially for my own Banded Bulu to do some breaking. Because then if I can potentially catch his Charizard with a Stone Edge, I'm looking very hot with my own Banded Bulu. And chipping his Heatran into Stone Edge range is really nice for me as well. But in hindsight, I should have roosted so I can stay healthy for his Banded Bulu. Given he does have the Stone Edge, so he could have just bought me with that. But I think Roost was my play here. T-Bolt does kind of work out, though. Although he's just going to sling up these rocks as I go into my Gastrodon. Alright, actually it doesn't sling up the rocks. He actually goes for the Magma Storm. And now, Grassy Terrain does wear out, which is nice for me. I go for the EQ as he gets up his rocks. Rocks looks pretty obvious here because he can get up his rocks and then send in his Banded Bulu. And then Banded Bulu says hello with Banded Horn Leech again. So it's pretty obvious he's going to go for the rocks there. I do kill the Heatran, which is very nice for my own Banded Bulu. But it's Bulu season. I send in my own Bulu on the Horn Leech, knowing that I can eat 2 with Grassy Terrain recovery, and I can scare him out with my own potential hits. So this is pretty nice. And here, God Play season incoming. He goes into the Charizard Y. Ooh, I make actually the play of the season, and I Stone Edge. Thank God it doesn't go to the side. And now, it is looking very nice for both my Gastrodon. It's looking nice for my Banded Bulu. It's looking nice for my Gastrodon. Hell, it's even looking nice for my man, the Zapdos in the back, if I can heal that up, because his T-Tar can't really touch it, his Rotom can't really touch it. Obviously, his Rotom can Will-O-Wisp with the cripple, but he can't really touch it. Even his Landorus has to, like, explode on me. Even Stone Edge doesn't do that much. So my Zapdos is also looking hot, so I'm not necessarily in a winning position, but I'm in an okay position, especially after killing that Zordawai. That was such a big threat because I let my Pex get chipped. So this is very nice for me. Stone Edge was the play because Stone Edge can 2-hit KO his Bulu. Plus it catches the Charizard. Even if he wanted to go into Lando, which I don't think he would. Like, Charizard was pretty obvious for him because he really didn't want to give me Horn Leech recovery. Say he went into his Scarf Lando. He gave me Horn Leech recovery back, which is something he really doesn't want. So he goes into his Lando here again. Now he just gets a free ass user, and as I just go for the Stone Edge, I chip away at his Bulu, which is pretty nice. I get some nice veteran ship that he can just recover back with Hornleech, so that's not like it matters too much. I go into my Toxapex because it doesn't serve that big of a purpose, and although Mew does check Bulu pretty nicely, I don't want to send it in on a Wood Hammer and topple over. Given I could have just gone to Mew here, to be honest, like it was pretty obvious that it was gonna go for the Hornleech because it really needed some HP back. But now I can just go into Zapdos afterwards and make sure these rocks are off the screen. What I do is I go for the Heat Wave instead of going for Defog because I was in Hornleech range. But yeah, I don't know. I should have probably roosted because even if I roost, I don't lose that much. But Heat Wave, I guess, was just kind of my safe play because it doesn't have the best switch-ins. And even if you wanted to go to Lando, Lando doesn't appreciate Heat Wave and Sun. T-Tar can't touch me. Rotom can't touch me. So I guess I'm good here. I still have my Sun for one more turn, so I can roost up for free. There's nothing this Rotom really can do to me as he throws off a Will-O-Wisp. Now, this is a bit of the casual luck right here because I do want to get these rocks off, obviously, and I do casually dodge a Hydro Pump here, which I don't know if that mattered towards the end game, but it definitely sucks for him. So he tries to go for the Volt Switch here as I get in my big boy Gastrodon. And Gastrodon is the beast here. I go for the Clear Smog, get a little bit of veteranship on this to his Rotom. This is very nice that he is the Berry because now he doesn't get casual recovery. Here, Will-O-Wisp is really obvious because he definitely wants to cripple my thing. So I just go for the Scald, do get rewarded for that play, which is very nice. So I can casually chip away at this. Here he goes into Landorus, as I think I clear Smog here because I really don't want to let the Bulu in. My thought process is here, if I clear Smog and he lets in, it lets in Lando, that's not the biggest deal. Lando isn't that big of a threat. But if I Scald and I let in the Banded Bulu, he can potentially claim a kill with Wood Hammer. He can potentially claim a kill with Stone Edge. He can claim a kill with Hornleech. The Banded Bulu just looks like such a big threat. I really don't want to let that in for free, and Clear Smog is going to do a really nice chunk because of the quad weakness. So I do let in the Lando for free, unfortunately, which does suck. Now here I can just go into Mew here. I get that play right as he goes for the EQ. In hindsight, I don't know how good this play really was, although Mew kind of also beats his team. Like a lot of my Pokemon, like basically all four just beat his entire team at this point. If he U-turned that wouldn't have worked out that amazingly, but he goes into Bulu as I double into Zapdos. Which definitely covers the Bulu very nicely. Here, I think I go into Gastro, covering both the T-Tar and the potential Stone Edge, because I want to scout for the Stone Edge. I know some Banded Bulus also have Mega Horn for like Mega Lotties, and since Mega Lottie has been used a lot in SPL, I figured Tacebreeze might have that on his Bulu, because otherwise you are kind of stranded against Mega Lotties if your only move to touch them is Stone Edge. So he goes into Tyranitar here. I do get that big boy Gastro back in, and he goes for the Crunch. Obviously doesn't do anything because he is burned. I do get a nice bit of Scald damage off. If we can just kill this T-Tar, that's one less sack file that he has left. Crunch honestly does like some okay damage here. But yeah, I do want to clear Smog again because again, I really don't want to let this Bulu in. He does get his Lando in for free again. He's definitely playing this right, getting in his Lando every time, and he doesn't force me out this time though because there is grassy terrain. Otherwise, Gastron doesn't appreciate this, but yeah, I'd go for the hard Scald here, which I don't know if that was really a play. I think Recover was a better play, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Here, I should have probably clear Smogged because the Bulu is oh so obvious. This is the most obvious Bulu of life, but instead I just recover like a peasant. Very sad, but I do have like some okay answers to Banded Bulu still. I mean, not answers, but Mew tanks, Zapdos can tank. Like, it's okay, especially with grassy terrain, as you can see here. Hornleech does a shit ton, right? But with grassy terrain and with Roost, I only lose 2%. And if he Hornleeches, if his grassy terrain wears out, his Hornleech does become weaker. I do lose some recovery, but his Hornleech does become weaker, so it does even out. So this Mew can 1v1 this Bulu, especially with the poison, so he's not even gaining HP back that much. Goes into Landorus. This also cannot beat me. Basically, he's like in a stranded position where his Banded Bulu just has to do something. It has to like claim a kill with Stone Edge or Wood Hammer somehow, and it just has to do some work. But then it's left like at very low HP. Tace is like very much in the back here. He just has to fight back with his Banded Bulu because none of his other Pokemon can really break. So I just soft willed. I'm just back into a nice position with my Mew. Here I can just go into my Zapdos instead of my Gastron because I don't want to let the Bulu in. Gastron was super obvious. If he volted my Zapdos, that wouldn't have mattered that much because Zapdos just beats everything. So it doesn't really let anything in. So my Zapdos is pretty free here. It does go into Banded Bulu here. Here I go for the Heat Wave, which in hindsight, Russo's probably my better play to scout for Stone Edge, but it does work because I do eat that up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Zapdos is so fat and thick. I didn't even calc that, which is pretty sad. I think that was a roll though. I calced it later. I don't know exactly the roll, but that was definitely a roll to kill still. So nice, kind of an unplay. Here I just get a free roost off. He goes into Landers, which cannot touch me. I am out of Stone Edge range because of the grassy terrain recovery that you get when you roost, which is nice. Instead of going for anything else, he just goes to the roost, or he goes for the U-turn though. Even if he exploded there, I think I was still in a nice position to win with Mew or with my own Bulu. So that was okay. I do just go for a nice bit of T-Bolt damage onto this, and Zapdos basically wins at this point. He goes into his T-Tar, which also does not beat this. Like, he doesn't have anything to really to really even beat this Zapdos. Like, his answer is yeah, his answer basically doesn't exist. His answer is the Burn Tyranitar, that's AV. So his best move to hit me is Crunch, which is 12. Very very sad damage coming from this nasty T-Tar. So I basically win this game with Zapdos here. I do get in my Banded Bulu as he Rock Slides, because I don't wanna just attack and him Rock Slide, and like I weaken my Zapdos for no good reason. Banded Bulu doesn't really do that much. Not is in the sense that it, like, Banded Bulu also would have won, but Zapdos is just my win condition here. Zapdos is just the Pokemon that's gonna win. So that's why it was kind of foolish to try to risk that. But I think I would have still won even if that Stone Edge roll was in my favor. So I definitely got some luck in my favor with the Hydro Pump dodge, with the Stone Edge potential roll, with the Scald Burn on T-Tar. So definitely, the luck was definitely in my favor. I don't know how game winning it was, but all the luck piling up definitely swayed the game into my favor. Although I do think I made some okay plays. I definitely don't think I misplayed that much. He definitely made some really nice plays, doubling in his Charizard, doubling in this Heatran. As here you can see, he just forfeits because he just doesn't have a way to break this Zapdos. His best move to hit the Zapdos turns out to be Hidden Power Ice, which does a clean 12%. Actually, I don't think that was even Hidden Power Ice. I think that was Hidden Power Fire to hit Kartana, which makes sense. So this is game 1. I wrapped that up with the stall. I mean, it is a bit grimy to use stall, but let's just dive right into game 2. So into game 2, we bring the fabled Specs Coco. Specs Coco was kind of an unset in the Zygarde metagame, but I think it is a Pokemon we can bring back. It's a Pokemon that is really nice right now, although Spadef Bulu is a big threat to it because you can't really touch Spadef Bulu. You need to get it really low to 2-hit KO with either HP Ice or Dazzling Gleam. So that's a bit annoying, but you can get momentum on it with Volt, which is just pretty cool. So looking at my team, I have SD Bullet Punch knock off Scizor. It probably should have been U-Turn on the team. I'm not sure about it though. I do like this set, but U-Turn could have served as a nice turn core with Specs Coco and U-Turn Tornadus. It is Rocky Helmet Tornadus, Specs Ashgren, AV Tang, and Rockium offensive Garchomp. Looking at his team, he has him, which is it's a Pokemon I really like to use. It's Metronome, Sub, Roost, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Kyurem, regular edition. With the pressure, you can easily stall out certain Pokemon. It's a mod I really like to use on ladder, and it is a threat. Not necessarily to this team because I do have Scizor, which is really nice, and he doesn't pair with a Magnezone, which is cool. But if he did pair with a Magnezone, this could have been a huge threat. So thank God he didn't. He has a Megazam. He has a nice Heatran. He has a probably Scarf, Landorus, and he has a Spadef Bulu. So looking at the threats on his team, nothing on his team really threatens my team outside of him, the big Heatran. Heatran actually, it's not like the team loses to Heatran. I do have the Garchomp plus the Gren, but those are both limited switch-ins, and if the game goes on really long, the Heatran can definitely break through both of them. Looking at my team though, Rocky and Garchomp looks pretty nice. If I can remove this Bulu, Specs Coco just basically wins, especially if I can just catch his Lando with another move on another Pokemon or with an HP Ice from Specs Coco. If I can catch his Bulu with Rockium, I kind of just win with Specs Coco, so he definitely can't let that happen. Also, my man Scizor looks a bit just a little bit nasty. You can check the Bulu, which is nice. I can check the Alakazam, which is nice, and I can check the Kyurem. So basically, like, Scizor basically beats his entire team outside of Heatran, and Heatran I can cripple with a knockoff, with just repeated knockoffs. So I just have to watch out for the Heatran dishing out massive damage back. So let's diving right into this game. I lead off with the big Specs Coco, the gold, the bricks of money. So he is immediately forced out of into either Lando or Bulu. I just go for the Volt Switch because Bulu is super obvious. I don't think anyone would risk going Lando turn 1. If he did, and he caught me with a Lando, it would have been a bit of a sad one. He would have just asserted a massive amount of dominance turn 1. I send in my Torn, and I just go for the U-turn. I keep up the turn Vortex. If I Hurricane that, it would have been amazing damage. But here I can just go freely into Garchomp because it is probably Scarf Lando on his team. So EQ doesn't do anything, U-turn doesn't do anything, Stone Edge doesn't do anything. So the best moves he would have to touch me is either the rare HP Ice, which I don't see a lot of Lando's carry now that Zygarde is gone. He might have it, even then it does 50 and I just get up my rocks, which is I think a fair trade. The best move he would have to touch me is Explosion, which never kills, which is really, really cool. I always eat Explosion. As you can see, I eat that with ease and I just get up my rocks, which is cool. So I have the rocks up for now as he sends in his Alakazam. Alakazam is no threat. I can send in my Tangrowth here. the problem with Zam though, Zam, like my two Zam checks are Scizor and Tang, and they both get freely defogged on by the Tornadus here. I think I should have probably doubled out. I think doubling out would have been a really hot play. If I double out into Specs Coco here, that would have been super hot. Instead, I just Giga Drain. Like a peasant again. I do make some plays that in hindsight I should have. I do not make plays that in hindsight I should have. But yeah, Specs Coco is really freed up now that he sacked his Lando to his own explosion. Now I can Volt Switch for, this is the freest voltage of my life every single time. He goes into Bulu. I can even send in my Garchomp every time to get a little bit of free Grassy during recovery if I'm really feeling a bit Dockerage. My man Dockerage always does that on ladder. He always gets the maximum amount of recovery. Or I can just go hard into Tornadus and I can just keep up the turn core. I can basically keep him in the vortex of Specs Coco plus U-turn Tornadus. So this is exactly what's going to happen for the remainder of this game. Basically, it is the turn special. Now, if he, yeah, this is basically the turn special. I just turn. If he stays in with his Bulu, it's not even a big threat if he stays in on it with Torn, because what I can just do is, if he stays in with the Bulu on Torn, I can just go to Scizor for free, go back to Torn. There is no problem. Or I can even go back to something else. Here I just go for the Tacebreeze here, the Greninja, and I go for the pump. I pump predicting him to either go insane and stay in, which I mostly predicted the Tornadus though, because I want to pump. I unfortunately don't have Ice Beam, otherwise I would have clicked that with swiftness. Actually, yeah, Ice Punch is, Ice Beam is like 20 base power stronger, so that could have killed, but unfortunately I don't have that. I don't pack that heat. I would have definitely clicked it there, but I don't have it. Instead I have Spikes. So now I am, I'm going to double into this, predicting the Bulu to come out. Honestly, I could have maybe doubled into Scizor because I would have covered the Kyurem as well. I think that Scizor would have been a better double here, but it's okay because I can just U-turn on the Kyurem, U-turn into the Scizor. It's not like I lose anything big here because I do have the Tinsect in the back. Big Scizor eats that up for breakfast because it's resisted. This is no thing. As I can just spam knockoff on this. I can spam knockoff, I spam BP. I have enough BP to outstall this Kyurem. I eat all these hits. It doesn't really matter. Now I can just follow this knockoff up with another knockoff, but instead I go insane and I double the Greninja, which is a really nice play. Here I should have gotten momentum and gotten up a spike. I actually do get up a spike. Damn, I was gonna say, but I pump like a retard. But I actually do get up a spike. Damn, this is why you watch your replays before you why you watch your replays before you go start the video. This game was like 2 days ago, so I don't remember every exact turn. I do get up a spike, which is really nice. And now I can just send in my Garchomp here, as he doubles the Kyurem, which is. This is a complete insane man play going to Garchomp here, but it definitely works out, which is cool. Now Garchomp says hello with his Rockium Z. And I know this is the freest Rockium of my life, because his only switch into Rockium would be Bulu, but he can't even go Bulu in case I like SD into Rockium. Although I think he could have maybe gone into Bulu and then just switched back out into his Kyurem to sack it off, but to be honest, you really don't want to take that huge hit onto Bulu, because if I just keep you in the turn vortex, especially if there's a spike up, you can very easily just lose the Specs Coco, which is something you definitely don't want to see. So I just fire off the freest Rockium Z of my entire life. I basically claim a free one with Rock Z here. His Kyurem goes into the dirt, which is cool. Helps out my Specs Coco because Kyurem does eat up Volt Switch. Obviously, he doesn't appreciate a Dazzling Gleam to the face because it topples over. But yeah, whatever. Here, this is a bit of an unplay. Honestly, I should have probably just Stone Edge there. Looking back on it, I should have Stone Edge. I just made the peasant play, I guess, of preserving my Garchomp 100%. The thing is, even if you Hurricane, I just tactically dodge it anyway. Like, what? There's not even a risk. I just tactically avoid. But whatever. Yeah, I mean, I could have just Stone Edge, try to go for the hit, because then if he defogs, I can just bring in my Ash Ninja later, start to lay up spikes, and just win with Specs Coco. So if I would have Stone Edge there, I would have just won the game. Yeah, that's why I thought I would. That's why I thought, oh, I'm just gonna go into Coco because I think he's gonna Hurricane. He actually catches me with a defog, so. Honestly, I think Stone Edge would have probably been my play, but I just want to preserve the Garchomp so I can get up rocks later. Whatever. I get in the Volt Switch. This game is still, it's not looking 100% won, but I'm definitely up by a lot. Specs Coco plus this basically has him in the turn vortex. Here I make a big unplay. I go for the Hurricane, which the Hurricane play makes absolutely no sense. I don't know why I clicked it there. There's no way he's ever staying in, and even if he does stay in, I can just go into my Scizor. I had no reason for doing that, as he just gets up a rock. Now here, this is the freest spike of literally my entire life. As I just pump. I don't know what I'm doing here. I can't explain this. I can't explain this series of plays. I don't get why I didn't just spike there, because spike would force him to defog and force him to defog for me. Even if I did catch my play and go in completely insane, I still have the chance to confuse or to dodge his Magma Storm. And if he goes to the Earth Power, it's also not the worst. Can anyone explain why I clicked Spike here? Literally no one can. Greninja is quite expendable here. I don't need Greninja. Spike, this was the free Spike of my life, thinking back on it, but instead I hit Hydro Pump and keep the rocks up on my side. Yeah, there's no good reason for this, really. That truly just isn't. Here he doubles into Alakazam, catches me, gets the freest region of his life, which sucks. Especially if he's HP Fire, he can actually start becoming a threat here. I pivoted to Tangrowth, as he does just do massive damage to me. Here I can knock him off for a huge chunk, as I actually get the crit. I should have maybe gone into Scizor. The thing is, if he just hard focus blasted there, I don't know. I'm kind of tweaking. Like, these 5 turns, I'm just tweaking. It's basically what's going on here is big tweakage. But I just wanted to get chips so I could chip him into bullet punch range and scare him out, so I can get the free roost here. But whatever. This is just tweakage. You really just can't fuck with these plays here. Here, he goes for the Earth Power here. Again, freest spike of my entire life. This is a bit less free of a spike than the last one. I pump again. The reasons do not exist. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I just tweak. Then I tweak again by just hard pumping. Like, it's just truly something you don't like to see. I was in such a winning position. Then I let him get a Brox, sack my Greninja. Like, I predicted him to double out back in Heatran, and I would just win the game. Say he did double back to Heatran, I caught him with the pump, I won the game. And Greninja's expendable. It's not like this is like that big of a misplay, but just like the entire series of plays between turn 21 and turn 29 just didn't make any sense to me. And honestly, it is a learning moment to think back on, like, to see, like, because the reason I didn't spike is because I thought, oh, what if he just stays in and then I lose my Greninja? Whatever, dude, whatever if I lose my Greninja, whatever if he stays in. I have the rocks up on my side. I want him to defog for me because I don't want to do it myself. Like, there's no good reason to not spike on these other turns. It's a learning moment, though. We live with that. I sacked the Greninja here for no good reason as well. I mean, the good reason would be he would maybe double out into Heatran as I go into either Scizor or Tornadus, and he would just claim another life. And I didn't want him to do that, but whatever, dude, whatever. Now here I think I just defog, which doesn't even make that big of a difference because he can just set them right. He can sling them right back up. As even in the chat, you guys can't see it, but I say unfort, I'm tweaking so hard. He goes to the Lava Plume, does not get the burn. I expertly dodged the burn here, as I think I just sling up the rocks here. Yeah, I do sling up the rocks, so for the first time in ages, I'm not attacking what's in front of me. So here I just go into Big Tang. As he goes to the Horn Leech, I can easily slurp that shit up. He has to be scared of either the Knock or the Sludge Bomb. He goes into the Tornadus, as I actually doubled into my own Tornadus, which is really nice for me. Here, I think I just Cane. Yeah, he sees that as a free opportunity to get on his Heatran, which it is, to be honest, it is. I just do turn back out, and here, I think I just sack off my Garchomp to potential Lava Plume, as I actually don't sack it off because he goes to the rocks, which works for me. Here, I think I just go for the EQ, because I don't really care about him going into Bula. I get some free recovery, and if I get some more recovery, I can actually E his Lava Plume next time, so that would be pretty cool. I go into my Scizor here. He goes to the Horn Leech. To be honest, like, I can still easily win the game with turn Specs Coco plus Tornadus. It's just that I'm just tweaking like my uncle. Here I go for the knockoff finally, and I just get rid of the Heatran's leftovers because I can see this as a really big threat that I just want to get rid of the lefties on that. Now I just stack off my Garchomp. I do have him in range of Specs Coco T-Bolt. I don't think I have him in range of Volt Switch just yet, but Volt Switch would chip him in range of rocks, and then he would basically just throw away his Heatran and just lose to Scizor. So now it begins. This is where it just begins. It's just Volt season here. This is basically from now on to the end of the game. It's basically just Volt mind games. He goes into Tornadus here as I go for the U-turn. I think he makes me take some Rocky Helmet chip as well, which is a bit nasty. I could just go back into Coco. The problem here, the biggest problem is that I have rocks up. So every time I go into Coco, I take chip on the Coco. The good thing is he also has rocks up, so he takes way more chip. As you can see, Volt Switch did 16. I think Volt Switch roll was like 14 to 18 or something like that. So every time with Grassy Terrain and leftovers, he takes, I think he takes from like 2 to 6% on his Bulu every time I Volt Switch on it. With rocks up, he takes so much more damage. The problem is I also take damage on my Coco, but it is worth it. I don't really care about him also having the rocks up. Here, I think I just go for the, U-turn again. I might even actually go for the Cane here on the Tornadus. I actually do predict the Tornadus correctly, and I do get the Cane off on him. Here he goes for the defog. He does get the outspeed, as I just killed the Tornadus with Heat Wave. Didn't really have a reason not to. So I do get rid of the Tornadus, as he does get rid of my rocks. So these rocks are off. These rocks are here to be off for good, basically, on his side, because my rocker is dead. He can still definitely get them up with his own, though, which is very annoying. He goes into Big Zammer, which he does want to get read on his Zammer, but if he just went hard into Heatran here, he basically claimed one, because there is Grassy Terrain up, so I couldn't even go into Tangrowth. So yeah, and I like to check Alakazam with like half my team, so I don't get this play really. I think if you go into Alakazam, at least you go into Alakazam then double the Heatran or something, so you can get the free regen. So here just goes into this. I double the Coco, and we are back. We are back into the Volt mind games. We are back in. It's basically Volting season from here on out. He lost a Pokemon. He got rid of both rocks, and he lost a Pokemon since the last time the Volt happened. So I guess some like progress happened. But yeah, it's just this. I can just go back to Coco, make sure this Heatran never gets recovery. So every time I U-turn on the Heatran, he takes 2 to 4% or something. Every time I Volt Switch on Bulu, he takes 2 to 6% on his Bulu. And eventually I can eventually just Dazzling Gleam on the Bulu, weaken that, and just win the game with Specs Coco eventually. Also, eventually Heatran just dies. Heatran just dies to the continuous U-turn rampage. So Tacebreeze has to, like, basically if this keeps going on forever, he loses. So he has to fight out of this somehow. As we see a nice 18%, that's a nice high roll that you love to see. But yeah, eventually Tace is gonna have to fight out of this, and he's gonna have to make a play other than just switching into my, switching in his answer. So he just goes to the Zam on the U-turn, Psychics onto my Tangrowth, as I think I just knock off here and I get rid of his Alakazam. Now here he can go into Heatran, but I don't need this Pokemon anymore. I just want to get right back into the Volting. As he Lava Plume burns me, which does suck, because I would have loved that extra chip onto Heatran. We see a nice Earthquake on a Quad Resist do 20% because of the burn and the grassy terrain. But yeah, I would have loved that extra chip on the Heatran. But yeah, he is even in Volt Switch range now, so he can't even just stay in to eat the Volt Switch and claim a kill. Although he couldn't do that anyway because Crystal Tornadus easily eats. So what am I saying? Volt just continues. I can just spam U-turn even if he U-turns. The only way, okay, the ways he can get out, right? He can stay in on my U-turn with his Bulu. Stay in on my Tornadus U-turn. Then Horledge onto the Scizor, and then let's go into Heatran. So if I would just go hard into Coco on the Horledge, he could get some nice damage off. Or if I just go back into Tornadus as he goes into Heatran, he has his Heatran in against Tornadus, which is something basically just claims a kill. So that's the way he can get out if he stays in on the he needs to stay in on the U-turn and then get a 50-50, right? That's the way he can get out. Another way he can get out is if I overpredict and I Hurricane on the Heatran, and then he basically claims one. So I think my play is to always turn until there's a certain point where I just have to pull the trigger and Hurricane the Bulu. So this is definitely this is far from over yet. I think I am in the driver's seat, but this is definitely far from over. But this Bulu is getting low. This Bulu is almost into Dazzling Gleam range. I think I need to get it into, I think I needed to get it into this, as this is actually the turn I Hurricane. Oops, kind of fuck up my narration. I thought I would turn one more time, but I think the Bulu is actually in the double Dazzling Gleam range / double HP Ice. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what I click. Both have the same base power. So he is actually in double Dazzling Gleam range with the, even if he regens with the leftovers and with the terrain. So eventually he's just gonna need to stay in to synthesis up and to reset the cycle. Even then, Heatran still continues to get chipped, but at least he can reset the cycle. Here, make the immaculate play and catch him on the Hurricane. Honestly, best play of the season. If that play backfired, I could have definitely still lost, but I just win the game here by spamming Hurricane into Specs Coco and winning the game. This game, honestly, I choked way too much. I made so many misplays that I just should have avoided. Eventually, I still won the game. I still won against Tacebreeze in 2, which I'm very, very, very happy for. Tacebreeze is like a good player, so this was kind of like a skill test because I was just grinding it out on the ladder against no-skill brainlets. So it's good to finally face a good player and actually just win pretty convincingly too. Although, I mean, game 1 was stall. He couldn't have really done anything against it. That stall just like overpowered him. And this game, Big Specs Coco did put in the work, especially after he explosioned and sacked his Lando, which yeah is a play I don't agree with because yeah, then you just sack your Volt Switch immunity. But I could have just HPI'd it with the Specs Coco, even if he did keep his Lando, and he was kind of in desperation because this Garchomp kind of rocked his team, as you can see here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I will be back for OST round 3 if I put out a good set. I mean, I don't like uploading losses. It's just the thing. I don't like going over my games and seeing, here, this is where I choked and this is where it cost me the game. I don't like doing that. So I don't know if I'll be back if I lose, unless I just lose in a good set. I guess I'll be back. I guess I'll be back then. So that's a bit of a problem with my replay videos. If you see a replay video made by me, you know I'm gonna win. Nah, it's a bit of an L. I don't think I've ever uploaded a replay where I actually lost the game, but you just have to assert dominance upon your viewers. You have to let them know that you are better than you actually are. You have to flex your fake skill in the Pokemon game. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have a great day, and stay abducting children.